Welcome back to Two Marks and a Spark, the show that is perpetuatively late. Hello, Russ. How are you?
Hello, Ben. Good to see you this week.
Well, we're late again,
Yes, due to circumstances beyond our control, better late than never.
as usual. Well, we got a lot of news, most of it not good. Let's start with the first thing and the only good thing. Rhea Ripley and Buddy Murphy announced their engagement. Good for you guys. Congratulations.
Congratulations on your forthcoming nuptials. We hope that they will have great success.
Well,
Come the challenges of being married in the wrestling business.
from the good news, we go straight into the bad. At a AAA show this week, Vikingo collapsed backstage. Uh, Obviously, he's been on AEW TV recently. The guy works a lot. I'm wondering if he wasn't just dehydrated or I don't have an update. I'll
No
we're
cause
recording,
of collapse listed.
huh?
No cause that we know of yet.
I mean, I'm looking again, but I haven't seen anything. Uh, yeah, there's no update.
That
So
was, that was in Mexico.
that was in Mexico, correct?
Okay.
But we have to talk about CM Punk again.
Yeah,
God damn it.
CM Punk, Phil, Pepsi Phil, as you were calling him earlier.
Pepsi Phil, he just he put his foot in his mouth again.
Yeah. Are you talking about on TV or off TV?
Off TV.
Okay, yeah, be specific because I'm not entirely up to date. I heard there was another dust up.
Okay, so
Is it
there's
him and
this
the EVPs?
no. So what he did, because he's an idiot. Look, I'm sure Phil Brooks is a nice guy. Actually, no, I'm not. But I'm sure he's a nice enough guy. But Jesus Christ, if you get on this man's shit list, you will never get off. So after Collision on Saturday, which I didn't see, by the way, we'll talk more about that later. So anyway, he basically says, I figured out, because they were in Carolina, I guess. It's like, I figured out why they call him the Hangman. And he basically says it's because all his action figures are still sitting on the peg and he can't move merch and this, that, and the third.
Oh, I get it.
This was, by all appearances, a shoot because, well, I don't know if you've noticed this, Russ. They're not on the same TV show.
No, but they're working for the same company, and why would you want to hurt the merch sales of someone who works for the same company as you? That makes no sense.
Now, I am of the opinion now and have been since he lost the world title that Hangman Adam Page is not a main eventer.
Yeah.
I never really thought he was.
Well, I didn't feel like he was ready, no. And he may be a cowboy for real and all that, but I remember the first time he started pulling that cowboy shit gimmick. His words, not mine. Cowboy shit.
I don't.
He had like butterflies embroidered on the pockets of his jeans. It's like he's trying to look like a cowboy and he's wearing his stepmom's jeans or something. It looked ridiculous.
Now, here's the thing. I have no problem with Hangman, and I generally speaking have no problem with CM Punk, contrary to popular belief. I have no problem with CM Punk. I have no problem with Hangman Adam Page. I do, however, have a problem with these idiots running around shooting on each other when they work for the same fucking company.
Right, right. And this started a year ago, with that first dust up, and it's the same antagonism between the two of them.
This time, I don't think Hangman said anything to Punk, because by all accounts, they haven't spoken. So why would you go out there and shoot on a guy you haven't talked to?
Right.
Why would you do that?
Unless it's a work shoot and they're actually going to try to do something with it, but
They're not.
they're not going to put them together in any program coming up soon.
Well, anyway, this was stupid. You shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else that was stupid. Raw.
You think the whole show was bad?
I watched it on Hulu. I can't.
Or you got the edited version. This was the first time we got to see Michael Cole and
Wade.
Wade Barrett. They switched teams altogether.
Commentary was so much better on this show.
It was noticeably better. Yeah, I hadn't heard they were going to do that, but that helps. It's still too long a show, but it helps to have some competent announcers.
Michael Cole is so good at his job. And well, this show starts with Cody Rhodes coming. By the way, they were in Minnesota this week.
Right.
This crowd was loud.
Yeah, they were for a Minneapolis crowd. For a Midwest crowd, they were pretty boisterous, weren't they?
Cody comes out and this place about explodes, which is funny because I was in the building the last time Cody was in Minneapolis, which was in November of 2021 for Full Gear. And he didn't get anywhere near that kind of reaction.
Right. It's amazing how much his popularity has skyrocketed.
Well, he comes out and he is the biggest. You would have swore he was from Minneapolis with the pop he was getting.
Right.
And here he comes waltzing down to the ring. They're singing his song. And they are not just singing the whoa part. They are singing every word to this guy's song.
Right.
And he looks like he can't believe it. Like he's looking around like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Did you notice his face as he was walking the ring? He looked confused. Just like, the fuck is this?
I always watch his facials, because he's really good at registering believable emotion. And, I'm sure that some of that is hereditary, you know. But yeah, the guy's really, really. I mean, look at him now compared to Stardust a few years ago. It's like night and day.
No, but like if you watched his face as he was walking to the ring, he did not understand the pop he was getting. Like he visibly was like, "What's going on?"
Right.
Like he walked out there and okay, full disclosure, Minnesota or Minneapolis rather, and I think it's mostly just most of the Midwest is a fairly AEW heavy crowd.
Sure.
Minneapolis especially is AEW heavy. They've sold out the Target Center all 3 times they've been there. And once it was for a Rampage that they even sold it out. So, it's a Minnesota's AEW heavy, especially now. AEW's been there 2 or 3 times since the pandemic. WWE's been there 2 or 3 times since the pandemic. Generally speaking, before this show, AEW was doing better ticket wise. I know for a fact this show was pretty much sold out. And it's interesting because they were in the Target Center, which is not a good building for anything other than basketball. If they were at the XL, I think they probably would have sold more tickets. But here's the problem with the XL with that big Tron they have, that taller, like big board they have. They couldn't get that into the XL because the XL's roof is too low. So they just couldn't do it in the XL. But
yeah, how about that?
Anyway, Cody comes out, gets this massive pop, looks confused about it. And I think part of the reason he might have been confused is because he was fighting Brock Lesnar literally 2 days before, and Brock
Right.
Lesnar's
Yeah, that's why he wanted to talk about Brock Lesnar.
He comes out and he says, "So Minneapolis, what do you want to talk about?" And Cody cuts one of his. Cody is such a wordsmith. This guy just finds a way to spin everything.
Yes, he does.
And he makes a reference saying Brock Lesnar acknowledged him. his mom tells him that Brock
Right.
Lesnar acknowledged him and that he thinks he could beat anybody in the world. It was at this moment I wanted to go on Twitter and call out Cody Rhodes to a fight. Because if he thinks he can beat anyone in the world,
Right.
imagine the publicity we would get if I was in the main event of Raw next week.
Yeah, they say Ben who? I said Ben on. That's what.
You'd be like, holy shit, this is
Right.
fucking cool.
Of course, what I knew probably just like you did. As soon as he said I could beat anybody, we knew exactly what was going to happen.
Here
This
comes
this is the formula,
here comes Mr. Sing My Song.
right? With the biggest yellow Crocs I've ever seen in my life, and freaking look like inflatable sunglasses. It just strange looking dude, very strange looking dude, Seth freaking Rollins.
But he is the world heavyweight champion, and credit to WWE. They did not take the belt off him right away like me and you thought they might.
Right. Yeah, they might as well let it mean something for a while.
Well, anyway, him and Finn go back and forth for a minute. Then here come the Judgment Day with no Finn Balor. Uh, and they go back and forth. And then after a while, Sami Zayn comes out, and here comes the 6-man tag main event again with Cody
Again,
Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and the Judgment Day, an interchangeable third man. This week it was supposed to be Sami Zayn. It ended up being Shinsuke Nakamura. We'll talk more about that later.
right. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, not very happy that he
No,
was just, he wants to pursue this thing with Cody. He doesn't want a team with him, but he was reluctantly agreed to go along with it.
we go to commercial. We come back. Adam Pearce is getting yelled at by Ricochet, and then he's getting yelled at by the other three jabronis that were in this upcoming four-way, Riddle, Gable, and Ciampa. And this ends up leading to an immediate four-way match to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental title. Hometown boy Chad Gable, Ricochet, Matt Riddle, and Tommaso Ciampa. And man, did they ever pull a swerve here.
They sure did.
Yeah. This match goes 10 minutes. Not only was this a very good match, but man, did they pull a weird finish here.
Yeah, didn't see it coming at all.
Chad Gable wins clean in the middle of the ring.
Right. It was very nice to see.
And I was like, what?
I said, yeah, it's nice for a change to see this guy actually being used for something good.
No Otis, no Maxine Duper. No, he just won clean like a
Right.
babyface. And Gable was working babyface here, by the way, because, and I've noticed this since Triple H has been back, when they're in a wrestler's hometown, even if they're a heel, they'll tend to work babyface.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, like, if Brock was on this show, he would have been the babyface just because
Right.
they're not going to boo Brock in Minnesota.
Sure.
And if they were in Des Moines, Iowa, they weren't going to boo Seth Rollins even if he was a heel.
Although I remember like a few years back when I was at a Raw in Des Moines, I forget what year, but they were trying to get Seth Rollins booed in Des Moines, so they got cheered. And then he had to say a couple insulting things about Iowa to try to prove that he was bad. But they don't do that so much anymore. They just kind of let the hometown crow go and have fun.
Well, anyway, Gable ends up beating Ciampa with the Chaos Theory. I would have much preferred him to pin Riddle, but whatever. And the finish was fantastic. The match was very good.
I was surprised.
And Gable wins, and it's him versus Gunther at some point.
Well, the only spot that I think is overused and kind of dumb is that big Tower of Doom thing.
But it looked good here.
Well, it looked as good as a crappy move like that kid look, I guess. I'm willing to forgive that. That was the only part of the match that I didn't like. But the crowd loved it, so what do I know?
What the hell do we know, right?
Right. I'm just another mark.
Aren't we both?
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think they're going to let Tommaso Ciampa very much?
Do you think what?
Well, they're not letting Tommaso Ciampa win very much yet.
No, I don't know why. This company's stupid. Anyway, um, I know Nakamura had a match after this against Bronson Reed. I did not see it because I watched it on Hulu. How was the match?
That was all right. That was yeah, Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura won. It wasn't a bad match. It was pretty good.
Well,
Right.
after
And
this,
also within there was a Sami Zayn playing Peacemaker backstage between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Then the Miz is pissed off.
I'm comparing my notes to an official recap for this show,
Yep.
and they cut almost the entire second hour.
Okay. Well, yeah. When the next match up then would have been Ludwig Kaiser. No, Ludwig Kaiser. He was trying
I
to go.
did see the Becky promo. I did see the Becky promo
He
because I
did.
found
Okay, that was next up. Ludwig tried to hit on Maxine. And then Becky was started talking about Trish and Zoe, and Shayna Blazer came out. So that's where you picked it up right there, I think.
right, and then I saw the JD McDonough segment with Balor.
Yes.
I
So
think where
is he
this
going
is
to be
headed,
aligned with them now?
I think, is Finn and JD against the Judgment Day, like
Okay.
against Priest and Dominic. Which, by the way, we're going to talk about this later, but it seems like the bloodline's on hold for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if maybe they're going to start to push some new blood here. No pun intended.
Yeah.
I just I can't begin to understand why they haven't been using JD McDonough to this point.
I haven't seen him wrestle since I might have seen him on NXT quite a while ago.
Well, he was Jordan Devlin, and he's really good. He's a great wrestler, and he's great on the mic. He's a great heel, but they just don't want to use him for some reason.
Yeah. He's great on the mic. I've seen a couple of his promos. I thought that they were really unique.
I did see bits and pieces of Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Stark.
That one was not great, but it wasn't bad. Shayna Baszler won, which makes me very happy.
And then Becky
I
Lynch spatter water like really kind of like Triple H. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I did too.
And then we get to the best segment of the night.
Are you serious?
The Miz and LA Knight. This
But
was great.
you know something? It was nice to see the old Miz get fired up and cut a heel promo like he can. He gets outraged, and when he's really, really outraged, he tends to cut very entertaining promos. He's very good. And I know people would like to knock the Miz,
These
but this was a,
two
this, this was a good segment.
these two on the stick can flat out go. And LA Knight ends up laying them out.
Wow, with this blunt force trauma, which is a great name for a finisher, isn't it?
I thought it was the mic drop because I think that's what it used to be, but
Oh, okay, all right.
that's what it
Probably,
used to be.
probably the same thing, but maybe they had to change the name from TNA to here, or even if they don't, sometimes WWE just changes names on purpose.
Yeah, sometimes WWE just changes the name for the purpose of changing it.
Yeah,
And then I know the New Day came back on this show and wrestled the
right.
Viking.
It was
Good to
nice to
see the
see.
New Day back.
I don't think we're ever going to see Big E.
No,
I think he's probably done, which is unfortunate. But
uh,
I was glad to see the New Day back and without pancakes and unicorns and trombones. This at this point in their career, they could dispense with all of that and just
then we do
concentrate
get
on
the
wrestling.
announcement after a bit there
Yeah.
that Sonya Deville has torn her ACL and is out indefinitely.
Yeah, that's too bad. She's had she's been out a couple times before her, hasn't she?
Yeah. And Sonya's really good. I mean, her and Chelsea have been tearing it up.
Yes.
So, and then we get this fucking 6-man tag main event.
Well, I tell you, I just get to the point to where when they quote unquote booked this on the fly at the beginning of the show, I thought, oh boy, that's something we haven't seen in ages. Another 6-man tag main event. Seems like we're getting this all the time from both companies.
It's every week.
It seems like it's very, very easy for them to get stuck in a rut.
Well, anyway, this was actually a pretty decent match.
Yeah.
The baby faces won, no surprise. And then as they're celebrating, after some interference from Zayn got knocked out of this thing by JD McDonough, and then Nakamura ended up in the match. So
Correct. Yep.
after this, it all led to an angle where Nakamura absolutely kicked Seth Rollins' face in.
Yes, he did.
And
And
this wasn't just like a normal Kinshasa.
with
This
the
one had a little extra.
Kinshasa with plus, as they call it.
This Kinshasa had a little juice.
And Cody looked just shocked, and he couldn't believe it.
Cody looked like he was gonna shit his pants. Like, what the fuck?
Cody, have you been watching this guy? He's never been exactly a baby face.
Have you ever watched an episode of Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes? This shit happens all the time.
Right. It's no big deal. These kind of little things happen. It's no big deal at all.
Well, anyway.
But anyway, there it goes off. As we go off the air, we got Sami Zayn checking on Seth and Cody joining him, and down there looking like he didn't know what just happened.
I really do wish I was at that show. Only because you want to know something?
What?
I would have booed the shit out of Matt Riddle.
Oh yeah.
You know who else I would have booed the shit out of?
Miz.
Miz.
Mm-hmm.
And Otis.
Otis, yes, I would have too.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
We had a weird Dynamite this week. This show was weird.
That opening segment took about 20 minutes.
Actually, it was only about 7 or 8.
Oh, really? It felt like 20, 30 minutes. But that's just because it felt longer than it actually was.
Well, anyway, the JAS has imploded. That's all you need to know about that. They one by one pretty much walked out.
Yep, every single one of them.
And we find out after that. We go backstage to an interview with Renee Paquette. She's interviewing Chris Jericho, a couple of Canadians just standing around. And then we get a third Canadian. Here comes Don Callis, and Jericho says he's going to give Callis his decision on whether or not to join his family next week. My presumption is Jericho's going to say no.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know.
Never know.
We got the Young Bucks versus the Hardys.
Yes, and this was like the dream match for them, I'm sure. For this type of match, for the modern style of match, I imagine this was really good. I was very happy when it was over. I figured the Young Bucks would win. Can't really critique it too much, though. It's just not my style of match.
This was very good, at least in my opinion. It
Good.
could have been
Okay.
better. It certainly would have been better 20 years ago. But it was very good here. And I don't know. And then we get the RVD Greatest Hits tour.
Yeah.
After a backstage segment with the Blackpool Combat Club.
He's good to see RVD. He's looking pretty good.
This is pretty good for what it was, considering the fact that RVD is 107 years old.
He's slowed his step, but he's still in pretty good shape for his. I don't know how old he is, but yeah, that wasn't horrible by any means. Winner Jack Perry.
Yep, Jack Perry retains the FTW title as if anyone cared. We
Yes,
get a Lucha Bros segment talking about the Blackpool Combat Club backstage. Then we find out MJF and Adam Cole are going to tag together on Zero Hour.
that's the pre-show, I assume.
So not only are these two going to wrestle in the main event, they're going to be in a tag match. Because these guys are so over as a tag team that if they don't put them together as a tag team on the show,
Right.
they may
No,
burn down Wembley.
that I guess the pre-show starts at about 11 a.m. our time, and that will be them against Aussie Open,
That'll be a very good match.
who are the Ring of Honor champions right now. Who they got to be older than they look. They look so young. They look like they're about 14 years old.
They're definitely older than that.
They look extremely youthful, but that's all right. They'll get bigger eventually. They're bigger than the Young Bucks anyway.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm bigger than one of them. Anyway, uh, Blackpool Combat Club against the Lucha Bros. This is a very good match. Blackpool Combat Club end up getting the win here. I didn't time this, but I would think this was what, 14 minutes?
About that, yeah.
And
Then they had the post-match attack.
of course,
They won, and Claudio stole Penta's mask.
correct.
And was wearing it.
And then we get a Kenny Omega backstage segment talking about the Young Bucks challenging FTR because FTR called them out the previous weekend on Collision. So we're getting Bucks versus FTR again. That'll be a very good match, but
I'm dreading it.
Omega says he's going to be sitting down with a returning Jim Ross next week to discuss his future and his plans for All In and all that.
Right.
We had the Mogul Embassy in the ring.
Here comes Swerve.
And this all ends in a all-in match. It's going to be Sting and Darby Allin against Swerve Strickland and AR Fox
Right.
in a coffin match.
Is that next week? No, that's an All In.
That is an all-in.
Right. Right. Well, there's not going to be every time we see Sting in the ring, there's a good chance it could be the last.
Correct. Then we had Hikaru Shida versus Anna Jay for the AEW Women's title.
I believe this was the main event, was it not?
I believe so.
How about that? Now, this Hikaru Shida, she's pretty impressive. I know Anna Jay's been around a long time. I'm less familiar with her.
She's very good, and
Hmm.
this was a very good match, but Shida won, and this match got dragged through commercial break. So,
Right. But Hikaru Shida won, maintains the title.
retains the title, and that was pretty much it for Dynamite. This was a weird show. Not great.
Yeah, not horrible, just kind of a midland.
Speaking of middling, SmackDown.
Yeah, there you go.
Fuck.
Or as I like to call it, the latest chapter of the ongoing soap opera,
Better known as the Bloodline.
The Bloodline.
By the
Yes.
way, we have a lot to talk about after this SmackDown stuff. So let's get right into this because I want to discuss the main event segment more than anything. So we had Charlotte and Asuka have a match. This ended up being a no contest because Damage Control decided, fuck this match.
Right. They just went in there and they were healing all over everybody. Definitely. Charlotte versus Oscar, no contest.
We had Caleb Braxton backstage with Santos Escobar ahead of the U.S. title match tonight. I swear this was supposed to be last week.
Which one? The AJ?
No, Santos Escobar and Austin Theory. This
Oh, yes, yes,
this
yes,
match that
yes.
they're talking about here. I swear this was supposed to be last week.
Right,
Anyway, so Theory attacks Escobar during this interview. We get a video announcing that Edge is going to be on SmackDown next week, celebrating 25 years. Then we got AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross.
right. We've seen that a few times already, though.
I think this was the best version of it.
I hope so. Because, I'm looking for a reason to get excited about Karrion Kross, and I haven't found it yet. Although AJ Styles can have a good match with pretty much anybody.
Indeed, he can. And then, kind of the surprise of this show was Edge just kind of showed up
Yes, didn't expect that.
unannounced, and he cuts a very good promo here, talking about wanting to be back in Calgary again, which for a guy from Toronto, I don't think is exactly true.
Right. But it was a great promo.
uh, he talks about Sheamus, and him and Sheamus have never had a one-on-one match, which
I didn't realize that.
that's baffling.
Yeah. That should be interesting, though. And
And
I like the way they talked about each other. I just hope you didn't make a mistake, fella.
fella,
Yeah.
well, we got we got a Hulk Hogan happy birthday video package.
Yeah. What is he now? 70?
God damn it.
I think he's 72, something like that.
Yeah,
A little bit older than me, just a little bit older.
he's 70.
All right.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. When I first saw that coming on, I thought, oh, they're going to bring him in for a Monday Night Raw. They have him come out there and talk for 30 seconds and pay him $1 million.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
That's right.
Brother Jack, dude.
Next
Anyway,
up, we got Top Dollar. Your boy, Top Dollar.
fuck this match.
It
Anyway,
was it was a very short one, wasn't it?
this was a squash. LA
LA
Knight
Knight
wins.
looking good. Didn't take him long at all.
And then we get a backstage segment. Uh
Right.
that I think I'm really happy Lashley and the Street Profits are together. Don't get me wrong. I think that's going to be really good. But these
Yeah.
segments are pretty hokey.
Yeah.
But
Do
isn't
so
wrestling pretty hokey? Like, let's be real.
well anymore it is, but yeah, I'd like to see them wrestling again.
Well, then we get a match that was actually about 10 minutes that we only saw about 2 minutes of.
Yes.
Austin Theory, which defended his U.S. title, was supposed to be against Santos Escobar. He gets attacked again.
Right.
Pierce comes out and says, "You're not getting out of this, you little scumbag."
Right.
Sends Rey Mysterio in there, and we have a new United States champion. Thank God.
Surprised me very much.
Rey Mysterio in frickin' Calgary, Alberta, of all places, is your new United States champion. Thank God they
Yeah.
fucking got that goddamn belt off of Austin Theory. And
Yes,
now I hope Austin Theory is off my television.
for a while anyway, he will be, but probably not long, because he'll keep turning up like a bad penny just to annoy you.
And then we got one of my favorite promo segments in a long time from this company, anyway. This bloodline just doesn't know how to get bad, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Every time we think we're sick of it, what do? They
They
rip
do
us.
something to pull you back in.
And they did it again this week, Russ.
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to get sick of it. And then you know what? They were like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
So here comes Roman and Solo and Paul. Roman is like pissed off. Roman looks pissed.
Sure he does.
I wonder if he ate some like bad food or something because he just didn't look happy.
He's just
Under,
mad because he hasn't been acknowledged the way he's supposed to be.
huh?
He just isn't being acknowledged properly.
Can you imagine if every week when we started this show, I told you to acknowledge me and then I got mad when you didn't?
That'd be interesting, You can try it, see how far you get.
Before you quit.
I'll say, I acknowledge that you are an asshole.
I acknowledge that you're an asshole.
Right?
I acknowledge that you're a fucking prick.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. We
Well,
still don't, we thought we had it figured out where the brothers stood with each other, and then we find out, no, there's another
then we
wrinkle.
find out we don't have a damn clue. And I
Jimmy's
still,
mad.
frankly, even
Jimmy's
after,
mad at everybody. Jimmy's like, he's not aligned with anybody.
well, Roman comes out and he's like, Calgary, acknowledge me. Calgary refuses to do that.
Right.
Will not do that. Absolutely not. Uh,
No way.
no way, Jose. You remember him? Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, so he starts asking Paul, hey, where the fuck is Jimmy? And he's like, I don't know, my tribal chief. And Jimmy ends up coming out of the crowd, and Jimmy looks just as mad as everybody else. Roman says, I gotta admit, I owe you one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
He's like, whatever you want. You want a plane? Done. You want a boat? No. You want a yacht? You got it. Oh, I get it. You don't want material items. You want power? The new right hand man, main event Jimmy Uso. And then Roman stops for a second. Jimmy says, man, I want shit from you.
Hey, and he delivered to him a little kick.
Jimmy didn't kick him. Jay comes out.
Yeah, Jay.
Jay comes out, and Jay just looks like he's gonna have a fucking public meltdown, which he's about to. Uh Jay comes out and he's like, I'm about to bury, he literally says, and I quote, I'm about to bury 37 years if you don't tell me why you just did that. Like, why you kicked me in the fucking skull on Saturday. And then Jimmy gives the most pro wrestling fucking reasoning I have ever heard, but it works in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I did it because I love you, because I don't want you to turn out like him. I don't want you to become like him, pointing at Roman.
Right.
I don't want you to be a corrupt, egomaniacal asshole. And then
Like him.
they were chanting asshole at Roman.
And he just can't believe what's going on. He's shocked.
He looks like he's gonna shit himself, like stunned. And Jimmy basically says, you want to kick me in the head? Fucking go ahead. I don't give a shit. I just don't want you turning out like him. Jay turns his back. Jimmy walks out, and Roman just starts, does that evil fucking belly laugh. You know that belly laugh Roman does where you're like, oh, you are a fucking bastard, aren't you?
Evil bastard.
You
Really.
are an evil bastard. And he is an evil bastard.
Oh,
Am I
yeah.
wrong? that
Right.
Roman comes off like one mean bastard.
Yes, he does.
And, and he just starts laughing and he says, I told you. And then he
Told you
says, you're
so.
an idiot. You're a hothead. Of course you were going to screw this whole thing up.
Yeah.
And eventually, Jimmy just, not Jimmy, Jay just has heard enough. And Roman tells him to acknowledge him. And Jay says, no, I don't think so. I'm just going to kick you in the face. Jay kicks him in the head. Solo grabs him up. He kicks Solo in the head, spears Roman, and then he calls Jimmy back down to the ring. Jimmy starts walking down the ramp. They're down on ringside, and Jay just absolutely kills Jimmy with a super kick.
Mm-hmm.
And then he calls the camera guy over and effectively says, I fucking quit.
Yeah.
He says, I'm out. I'm out the bloodline. I'm out of SmackDown. Hell, I'm out of WWE.
That's
Deuces,
right.
ooses.
So
He
maybe he
said,
could disappear for a little while.
he said deuces, ooses. And then he left.
Yeah.
Now, according to all reports, this was a place for them to pause in the bloodline storyline.
Right.
And they had to write people off TV to do it. So Jay gets written off TV. They've moved him to the alumni section of the website
Right.
to sell the angle, which, by the way, guys get moved to that alumni section for angles
Right.
all the time.
It's just part of their storytelling, isn't it?
It's just part of their storytelling.
Yeah. Well, I always figured out a long time ago, even when I was a kid, that no matter what they say, if they show up on TV, they're supposed to be there. They're either under contract to the company or they're getting paid for one appearance
Now,
because
sometimes they say they're not supposed to be there because it wasn't announced and they actually were not supposed to be there until like day of. That
yeah,
does happen where guys get booked at the last minute and get flown into towns at the last minute. That
yeah,
happens. But,
sure.
you know, that's probably what happened with Edge here. I'm going to be real. Edge probably
That's
wasn't supposed to be here.
that's
But
why the tickets always say card subject to change.
anyway, I thought SmackDown was a little boring, but other than that, pretty fun. It was boring at the first half, and then the second half it picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see Collision, so I'm gonna let Russ tell us about that.
Well, Collision, it's started off with CM Punk and FTR backstage hyping up their World Trios match against House of Black, and then you get a recap of Ricky Starks whipping Ricky Steamboat with his belt, and Tony welcomes Ricky Starks for an interview. He's holding the belt. He's suspended for 30 days because he whipped him. Doesn't matter. Stark is angry. He says he went out. He's going to go out and get a manager's license, and the blood is on CM Punk's hands for bringing Steamboat into the first place. Anyway, video hyping up FDR versus Young Bucks. They're really hyping that match. I'm looking forward to it being over. I'm not looking forward to watching it because I know damn well what's going to happen. FTR is going to go over,
Yeah, no
and
kidding.
I think that's what's going to happen. And I don't think anybody in their right mind believes that, but I could be wrong. Then we get the Acclaimed. They're without Billy Gunn, but they're still carrying his boots. They beat somebody called the Iron Savages here in about a 2-minute match. And then we got Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander versus Diamante and Mercedes Martinez.
That's four good workers right there.
Very, very good. Diamante and Martinez won, and that was a very good match. Very well done. They're all really good. Samoa Joe versus Andrew Everett. The crowd is really, really into Joe.
Name a crowd that has not been into Joe. He's been over everywhere he's
I
gone.
don't care if he wrestles as a heel or not. You know, when this Andrew Everett guy comes in there, the people started the chant that we know from the past. Joe's gonna kill you,
And
and
guess what?
he
Most of the
did.
time when they chant that, guess who's going to die?
Right. And then it was a quick match, and Samoa Joe grabs the mic and he calls out CM Punk and he says, "Everybody knows that this roll up finish is bullshit, and nobody wants to see our feud end that way." So he's challenging him.
I would presume that's all in.
Yeah,
Or maybe they do it at all out. Who knows?
we got Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. Christian holding the belt. Talking trash about North Carolina and Michael Jordan and Darby Allen. What do we got here? What we're getting here is what it leads to is he's interrupted by Arn Anderson, who has his son Brock with him, and they rearrange a match on the spot between Luchasaurus and Brock Anderson for the TNT title. Luchasaurus, of course, maintained that. Darby challenges him to Christian to a match next week. Not Luchasaurus, but Christian. Powerhouse Hobbs is getting fed up with can you imagine this? Power Hobbs is getting sick and tired of this QTV nonsense. It is he don't think it's really helping him at all.
Really? I didn't notice.
He's ready. He's had enough of them. But we did have Jim Ross on commentary for the main event. He joined the commentary team, and this was House of Black with versus CM Punk and FTR for the Trios Championship. Once again, it was a great match for a Trios match. I really like the House of Black. They maintained the titles as I predicted they would. And they go off the air with Samoa Joe coming in and choking Punk out at the last minute. Choked him out and then ran out and left him laying. So they're teasing more conflict between them. Oh, it wasn't too bad a show. It was pretty good. I like Saturday night. I think overall it flowed a little better than Wednesday night.
I still don't like the fact that I have to stay home on Saturday nights and watch wrestling.
Saturday night, yeah, it's not the traditionally a time when TV programs get high ratings anyway.
No, and I usually watch it on Sundays
Yeah, yeah.
or late
Uh,
Saturday night.
anyway, it looks like we got all in or all out coming up. We're all in. Those
We're
are
going to
just a
all
week
in.
apart. Is that correct?
What?
Well, are those just 1 week apart?
Yep, and they're both pay-per-views.
And they're on consecutive Sundays.
Yes.
Okay. And we got to remember the one on the one from Wembley that's going to come on in the afternoon for us.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I probably won't watch that one live. I'm going to be honest with you.
right. I may or may not. It just depends on what's going on, but we'll get her watched.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for us. Russ, why don't you tell us about Uncle Russ's comic talk before we get the hell out of here? And then we're going to talk about a couple more things.
Uncle Russ's Comic Talk. We're going to talk about the month of June 1963. We're going to be taking a look at the entire line of Marvel comics that came out in that month and that year. Believe it or not, you could buy the entire Marvel catalog for the month of June 1963 for less than $3 cash.
That is incredibly interesting. Well, go
Yes, it
check out
is.
Uncle Russ's Comic Talk for more facts like that and so
You
much
bet.
more right here on Lock 22. Go check out me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/BenGames99. We are doing really
Yes.
well over there. We're having a lot of fun. I'm going to be streaming Madden 24 tonight. I'm probably not going to stream that more than once, but I will stream it tonight because it is coming out tonight at 7 o'clock. I will be live at 7 o'clock
Yes.
tonight. And as long as this goes out either today or tomorrow, if you're watching this on Tuesday,
Right.
what is it, tomorrow, the 15th, I'll be live at 4 o'clock Central. So come hang out. I'm live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 4 to 7 Central at twitch.tv/BenGames99. I am starting later tonight, one, because we're doing this show, and two, because Madden doesn't come out till 7 o'clock, and I'm not streaming for 6 fucking hours.
Well, there you
So
go. At
go
least
fuck yourselves.
you don't have to watch Raw live that way.
Russ,
Yeah.
watch Raw live anyway.
No.
You gave me the option between watching paint dry and watching Raw live, I think I'd have to really fucking think about it.
Yes, you would. All right. It's been good, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you right back here next time. Everybody have a good time. Everybody have a good week. As I like to say, Damon, play my fucking music.